Hey, morning, everyone. So definitely a few things that we want to make sure we address for this scrum. I don't want to talk about the agenda meetings until more people get in here. And Waseem, we have something more towards the end. So, okay, Ashutosh, we're not going to get. And he gave me updates, and I forwarded those updates to the necessary people. I'd like for Ernest to be in here. Oh, wait, Ernest also isn't going to be here. So Ernest said that he updated his code on GitHub and he made the pull request. He's waiting for merging on 2 of his pull requests. And he believes he's finished everything other than delete account function. And he's going on an unplanned trip for 2 days. So the exciting life of Ernest is in full swing, and he may come back to us on Sunday. So that's the update from Ernest. And okay, now it's looking like we got just about everybody else. Let's see if we can get Prathana in here. Prathana is another new person in the mix that I believe I shot. I gave you yeah, Waseem, you can restart real quick because we're gonna have a conversation with you closer to the end. Can you you can't restart? Okay, well, do whatever you gotta do. I believe I sent you a message last night, Adrian, about maybe I didn't.
About what?
Wait, I may have sent it to Imam. Yeah, I sent it to Imam about Prathana is a data analyst who has some experience at C and Python, and so she also came forward and was like, "Hey, can I work with you guys?" So we're figuring out how to integrate her. But while everybody else is here, we just want to make sure that you're testing your code before you commit. Let's test the code before we commit. Like, don't just. I mean, what was the issue, Adrian? What do you feel like people were just doing pull requests and not checking things thoroughly?
For the I think a lot of people usually just pass, but there's certain times when there's certain TypeScript errors that are shown, and then also if there's conflict errors that you're pushing. So basically make sure that you fetch and rebase before you work on your work. And then after, let's say it takes you a long time or a certain time has passed while you're working, something might have been pushed to GitHub. So make sure that you fetch and rebase before you push as well, so that there's no conflicts while you are while it's being analyzed. Mind you, there are times where it's going to get conflicts when I'm looking at it, because there's times when I put I merge something different or somebody else's pull request that might have make a conflict with your pull request, but then I'll reach out to you and tell you that.
Okay, so one thing is that, but when they're working on the back, they don't realize that the branch they're pushing to is constantly in flux. It could be changing, so they really should do a rebase.
Yes.
That way they catch their conflicts before they send them off to you, so that you don't inevitably get conflicts like every time.
Absolutely.
Okay, rebase. Let's remember to rebase. Gonna remember to reiterate that to the people who aren't in the meeting today. And I mean, that just goes with the just avoid kicking the can down the road. Like, as much as you can, avoid knowingly kicking the problems down the road that you know somebody else in our team is going to end up incurring. Because at the end of the day, the more we kick the can down the road, the closer it gets to the end user. And that is the worst person to get it. That's the person who gets the bugs. That's the person whose money we should be getting that supports our ability to keep on working on products and keep on, increasing the quality and whatnot. So any way you can avoid piling more work on a team member's plate is in all of our best interests. So just be cognizant of that. Okay, we can, and another overall general thing that I want to make sure we all do. Everyone just get GitLens, the extension on VS Code. I know I told Mallika, Sangeet got it, but get GitLens on VS Code. I believe the most important feature that it allows for is seeing who wrote specific code. I'm not sure if it tells you like line by line or edit by edit, but GitLens, Chris, you just got here. Make sure you have the GitLens extension on VS Code. It's just like a free extension that's extremely useful for code analysis. You don't have to ask who wrote which code and whatnot. So everyone get this. And other than that, Mallika, how about you start us off with what you did yesterday and what you're doing today?
Yesterday I had discussed with you, Gary, regarding what I'm updating on, and today I'll be working. Today I'll be working more on that, and I'll make sure today most of things are getting closed, and I'm just working on my GitHub again to make sure not to get more conflicts on while I'm pushing it,
Okay.
while I'm pushing the code.
Yeah, so what I was speaking about with Mallika last night, JP and Gautam, is the fact that we got to make sure our QA workflow, we're not stepping on each other's toes or being inefficient, because I made these comments, but I told Mallika to start making these, and we decided to place both of these on hold because they were already done. They were already fixed. So just something to look out for, JP. I'm pretty sure you created these. I'm not really sure why that happened, where we kept on. These were determined as an issue, even though they were already solved. So just something we got to look into to make sure we're not making double work or making any confusion for anyone. So that's probably a good breakout meeting, JP, for maybe you, Gautam, and Mallika to all confer on that, or at least you and Gautam. And Mallika, because she knows what went wrong there. So just something to look into later today. And Manan, how about you? I know you wanted to get into the back end yesterday, but you realized that some of the Firebase restructuring would take a lot of work, or the Firebase organization.
Yeah, I already transferred the folders from local file to the file storage, Firebase, for the history. I'm working on keys right now.
Okay. Yeah, so can you explain what you were doing there, just so everybody else is aware of why you're doing this little restructuring?
Okay, so the thing is, before we are storing on the local file in our local
Yeah.
PCs. So that's why conflicting issue of the path. It was taking your local PC path. So if anyone has the file, they were not able to access it from their local PC. And that's why we are moving all the files to the file storage in Firebase, storing all the key files, media files into it.
And is that better from a perspective of speed? Is it faster to do that instead of having it on local, or is it more secure? Like what are some of the benefits?
Kind of, because if we store in the local file storage, we are storing into the GCP server, and it load increase in the GCP server. the
And that's
files.
not what it's made for. And also, if you are storing your files and your medias in your local storage, that means you're pushing it to GitHub, and that's a version control. So basically, every version of that branch is getting a copy of that file, that media,
Okay.
so that it builds up.
Yeah, it's
And-
just vastly inefficient. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it seems like we're just following best practices. Simple.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess. May I have a permission to say something?
Absolutely.
Please.
Yeah, actually, we can put it that directly in the git ignore. We can achieve or block to push into our GitHub. It's very simple, by the way. But the best practice is not keep any assets related files in the server. It's consumed service, and it's in security wise, it's also a there is some security concerns as well. The best practice is use some cloud storage, something like that S3. That's the best practice.
Well, yeah, we were talking about Google Cloud Storage or Firebase storage, but since we already have Firebase, I think it's much easier to make sure that it's going into Firebase storage instead.
Yeah, you can use, but I'm not best practice to keep all the files on the server.
Right. I agree with you.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Jomar, how about you? What'd you do yesterday and what are you doing today?
So yesterday I just actually created a pull request for the Mikey's route. And yesterday I temporarily commented out the columns from the Mikey's table, which because we currently do not have properties from the backend. And this is also suggested by Ashutosh from our meeting yesterday. And also earlier I finished the get key details route, which I will push together with the save key route. And for later, I'll continue with the save key route.
Understood. Okay. Yeah, so I told Jomar to do his very best to do as much as he can for these functions and then just push what he has and put it as under review so that he's not so focused on making everything so perfect that he's not able to move on, because he was getting stuck a lot. So Jomar's may need a little extra TLC, just because he seems to have a bunch that are bundled up in these my keys that are all, they're all like intertwined. So it's really difficult for him to integrate these without some things missing here and there. So hopefully as more and more of these functions come together, Jomar's gaps get filled. So just a heads up there. And yeah, Jomar, just keep doing that. When you get as much done as you can, just do exactly what you did here for my keys. Just throw it as under review so that we know that you're not in progress. You're not going to keep on working on it, kind of thing, because there's not anything else you could do. Okay, that's great. And Waseem, we'll get to you later about this backend thing. JP, how are you doing with your functions?
So yesterday I started working with the trial process payment function. Yeah. I'm listing all the possible data that I needed, and yeah, going to the flow of the functions before
Okay.
I make some questions to Manan maybe.
Yeah, I texted you about that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so it sounds like you're on the right track. If you get stuck, definitely let one of us know. And it's better to put this as incomplete and just start working on something that you can get done. That way we can reallocate the stuff that's a roadblock to somebody else. so that we can get this done ASAP. And Sangeet, how about you?
Yeah, so I've just rectified some roadblocks that we do have in the forgot password, create password, and not forgot password, and create password and sign up issue. So I just rectified everything and I just created a pull request. And more or less, like I've managed to create a workaround for our like model issue that has been persisting for more than 2 weeks or 3 weeks, somewhere around that time. So the models are actually working right now, working good as of now, and yeah, there's no problem. So I just pushed everything and I just test forgot password and reset password, where the like I was not able to test those functionalities even though I just implemented that because the model was actually not working fine. So I just tested it and just pushed it. Yet there are some kind of front end kind of things are still there. I could find some kind of issues there that is purely related to the front end. That's not a part of an integration, but I just have a take a note of it and I'll just let Adrian know about this. And for today, I'll get back to my integration works. So after finishing all this, yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. And Gautam, how are you doing? What did you do yesterday and what are you doing today?
Yeah, Gary. So yesterday, I had a call with Adrian and he wanted me to start working with integrations. So I had done my setup, backend, connecting the front end and backend, that ready. And I started working on this, this function, enable two-factor authentication.
Okay. Do we know where that is? Because I don't see your name here anywhere.
No, he's QAing it.
Oh, understand. Okay. He's helping you test it on the back. Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. Okay, great. That's good because it's a beast. I've heard. All right. So, Chris, how are things coming with you? It looks like you pushed get subscription details and you moved on to save transaction details.
Yeah, that's correct. I pushed the get subscription details last night, and I'm starting work on save transaction details now.
Lovely. Let's get her done before you leave us for a week. Let's go. Let's go. We believe in you, Chris. All right. That's great. I'm glad we got off of that one. That one was taking a while. And I'm glad Joe Mar got off of my keys. That was taking a while too. So I'm feeling good about running through the rest of these. Nobody is caught up right now, which is nice. And Ernest only has one that's incomplete. And he should be back Sunday, so he should be able to wrap this up on Sunday. Okay, so now let's move on to some of the stuff that doesn't have to do with integrations. So Adrian, one breakout meeting you may want to have. Mallika said she expressed her interest in working more on the back end, getting more into the code than just the front end.
Okay.
And she also needs to be updated on some of the best practices we're using on GitHub. Because when we were talking about QA, Mallika said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to bundle up all of these changes and put them in one pull request." I'm like, let's not do that.
Yeah.
So we want to do as many as we can so that we only have maybe one or two conflicts at a time and not a whole laundry list of conflicts. So that let me know that, like, okay, maybe Mallika probably needs to know a little bit more about how we've been working with GitHub to avoid these bottlenecks.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just please have that discussion with her today about how she could get into it. And I thought maybe the best time to do it would probably be Monday or Tuesday after we're expected to have these integrations wrapped up, the functions wrapped up, so that she's not thrown in right at the tail end of integrations. It's probably best for her to be on back end maintenance or whatever we have to do on the back end.
Sure.
Thank you for that. And also on the back end is deciding on a back end subdomain with Waseem. I could care less. It can be whatever is the best practices. Like I heard like API.turn.ac or test.turn.ac. Doesn't really matter to me, whatever's a regular thing. But setting that up, and if we could also go into an explanation of what a subdomain is and why it's useful and why we want to start using it. Waseem, if you want to get started, I know you and Manan were talking about it originally.
Yeah, actually, we decided to use subdomain in case of API, as we required some connections, front-end connections with backend, and that I want that connection built with subdomain, not using the public IP, as we can maybe change public IP as per our server, but subdomain remains same. So I just suggest to use something like that, api.turnkey.ac for backend APIs. So everyone can connect with the your front end with backend using backend URL, something like that, api.turn.ac. And the other thing is, using subdomain, it will be easy to make it secure by installing the SSL.
Okay. And this is mostly for the devs, right? This is mostly for development. This subdomain that's like our new home for development, so that we're not messing with the actual live page. It's essentially like the develop branch, and the main branch is the actual website, right?
Yeah, at my concerns, I'm going to use API dot for main branch, not develop branch. For develop branch, we can use something like that, API dash develop dot turn dot AC. So it makes some difference for our production environment, or some test environment.
Okay, understood. Okay. Yeah.
Is this also looking out for the fact that we're going to have other databases as well, like in the future, like for Arch and for the website?
Yeah, it will be.
Okay.
We will use different database for different environments.
Okay.
Okay, so makes sense. Wonderful. All right, that's it for today, guys. Please, feel free to break out into your side chats that you got to do to get into the rest of the day, and we'll talk tonight for the alternative Scrum tonight, or tomorrow morning.
What the heck? Oh.
Yeah, so Mallika, definitely get a meeting in with Adrian, but also get a meeting in with JP and Gautam to go over the QA discrepancy. And I guess Manan, talk with Waseem to get the subdomain thing, and possibly Adrian as well, to get that wrapped up. And that's it. That's Scrum, guys. Thank you. Peace out, everyone. Have a nice day.